Thank you all. As you know that International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy comprises of homeopathic lovers, students and doctors. And we have 3 sessions every day. The first session of the day in Hindi is already over from 7:30 to 8:30. From 8:30 to 9:30, we have the international session in English and 9:30 to 10:30 local language session in Malayalam. Today, our guest is Dr. Hina B. Shah, BHMS. She is the Vice Principal of, as well as the Professor and HOD in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Sri Mahalakshmi Mahila Homeopathic Medical College, Vadodara, Gujarat. She has more than 26 years of experience, as you know, working in the field of obstetrics and gynecology. She is a person well known for homeopathic management in female complaints. Particularly today, doctor is talking about premenopausal and menopausal complaints with homeopathic management. This is a very good subject, and we as homeopaths can do wonders in this field. But unfortunately, people around us are not still aware of all these things. So the purpose of International Forum for Promoting Homeopathy is to make these things aware about all these things to the general public also. So we are uploading the videos of the same on the very next day itself, so that those who misses the session can watch it again and again. So with that, let us welcome the guest of the day, Professor Dr. Hina Shah. Welcome, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone, and happy Men's Day to our male homeopathic practitioners. Now, I can share my PPT to start my session, sir.
Yes, yes, definitely. You can share.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Yes, it is visible. It's visible.
Okay. The perimenopausal and menopausal phase of woman's life discussion by me. So everyone is knowing the woman is the beautiful creature of the God, and she is undergone the different phase in her life. And this phase are the puberty, pregnancy, and menopause. Now our purpose is that by this session, all the women, those who are joined, they must be aware during their perimenopausal phase as well as the menopausal phase. This is the purpose, and also the homeopathy is giving a good result with the complaint of perimenopausal phase as well as the menopausal phase. So this also we are discussing in this session. Now, first I start with the definition of menopause. So it is already visible on my screen. Menopause is a Greek word. Manos means menses and pause means a stop. It is a physiological and natural event in the life of a woman. So at the entering of this phase of the life of woman, there is a permanent cessation of the menstruation. So this permanent cessation of the menstruation is due to the loss of the ovarian follicular activity. And anyone has to consider this. This is the natural phenomena because the ovarian follicles are totally lost. That's why the menstruation is not there. This we discuss later with the other slides also. So natural menopause, when we want to consider, any woman want to consider, so for that purpose, there is a 1 year amenorrhea without any pathological or physiological cause. Now, the menopause is always an interchangeable terminology with the climacteric. So climacteric is also derived from the Greek word climacter. So it is one of the critical period of life. And this critical period of the life, this going to begin from her age of 40 till the age of 50 to 53 years. So this phase of a climacteric or menopause is going to be lasting for 5 to 15 years. And earlier, this consider in the stages, stage 1 and the stage 2. But nowadays, the consideration of menopause in pre, peri, and postmenopausal phase. And menopause is having a 3 types to develop: natural, which is the physiological event in the woman's life. Another one is the premature one. So premature before the age of 40 due to the ovarian failure. There is a development of premature menopause, as well as the menopause is due to the iatrogenic cause or surgical cause. So in this condition, the patient is in the early age going for the removal of the ovary. And due to this, there is a establishment of the menopause. The removal of the ovaries are due to the some of the pathologies or maybe due to the malignancy. And patient has to undergone for the procedures like chemotherapy and radiotherapy to the ovaries. And due to this, also the menopause is going to be established. Now, at which age we have to consider the menopause is going to be completely established, and there is a complete 1 year of amenorrhea is there. So for that purpose, we have to understand the demography. So 60 million women in India nowadays are older than the 55 years. So it is considered that in compared to the perimenopausal age, the postmenopausal age, the woman's life is more. So more women are living with the postmenopausal phase. And why it is going to be happen? Because women are living longer than the before because of progressive increase in the life expectancies. So average Indian women nowadays lives up to 65 years. That's why the average age of consideration for the menopause is 51 year age. But before that, it is the different one because the life expectancy is less. That's why the age is different. Earlier, it is 45 years. Before that, it is the 40 years. But nowadays, the average age to establish the menopause is 51 years. And the menopause age doesn't having any relation with the menarche, parity, race, socioeconomic status, height, weight, but it is having a connection directly. Those who are the heavy smokers, those who having any genetic disposition, as well as it having a direct connection between the menopause of age of mother as well as the sister. Now, why the menopause is going to be developed? This we have to understand. And what is the endocrinology behind the development of the menopause? So when the menstruation is established, what is the physiology of menstruation? So this is related to the number of the ovarian follicles. So when the baby girl child is inside the mother's wombs, there is 7 million of the oocytes are there at the 20 weeks of the gestation. And these numbers are every day going under the reduction by atresia. And at the time of the birth, the baby girl is delivered with the 2.5 million of the follicles. And when the menarche is established, there is a 4 lakhs at the time of the menarche. And for this proper function of the follicles, it required the balance between HPO, hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis, and apart from that, the thyroid and the adrenal glands are also required, the well functioning. Then and then only the menstruation cycle is going to be possible. Now we discuss what is the pathophysiology or endocrinology to the menopause. In this slide, there are the little bit mistakes related to the spellings. So excuse me for that. Correction is not done. So during climacteric, the ovarian amenorrhea and initially the ovarian failure is there because of the decline in the numbers of the follicles. There is a reduction in the follicle leads to the fails in the ovulation. And when the no ovulation is there, no formation of the corpus luteum. And when there is a no formation of the corpus luteum, there is a no release of hormone progesterone. And this leads to the premenopausal menstruation. And this premenopausal menstruation is always converted into the DUB. And in this DUB, there is an anovulatory menstruation because there is a no ovulation, no corpus luteum. So anovulation, these cycles are the irregular one. And with the time also there is a estrogen is also not there because no Graafian follicle. That's why the estrogen is also not there. And due to this, there is a development of endometrial atrophy. And at the time of the perimenopausal phase, the woman is also suffering from the endometrial hyperplasia. But when the estrogen is absent, at that time, the woman is suffering from the endometrial atrophy and it leads to the menopause. So this is the endocrinology behind the menopause. Now, which is the perimenopausal age and what is going to be happen at the perimenopausal age to the woman? So at the perimenopausal age, it is ranging from 42 to 44 year, and the ovary production of proteins are going to be affected first, and this leads to the breakthrough bleeding in the form of the DUB, and this always associated with the endometrial hyperplasia because the follicular activity is not proper, estrogen is decreased, progesterone is also decreased, and the FSH and LH is going to be increased, androgen is also going to be increased, and after that ultimately the menopause is going to be established. So during the time of the menopause, there is a modification in the hormone. So FSH level, LH level, all are altered, as well as the estrogen level. These all are going to be altered during the time of the menopause. Suddenly FSH and LH is going to be increased and the estrogen is going to be decreased. And due to this, all the problems or the menopausal symptoms are going to be developed like cardiovascular as well as the vasomotor. Now, at the time of the postmenopausal phase, source of the estrogen. So it is not from the ovary, it is from the peripheral conversion in the adipose tissues, and it is the androstenedione, estrone, testosterone to estradiol. This is the source of the estrogen. So during the time of the menopause, all the women are feeling about the weight gain. So because the androgen hyperactivity leads to the formation of more adipose tissue, and this is the postmenopause source for the estrogen. So this is related to the endocrinology of the menopause. Now we discuss that which are the common symptoms developed to the patients during the time of the menopause. So first, there is a symptoms which are developed related to the this woman's mood swings as well as the typical symptoms of the menopause like fatigue is there, difficulty in concentration, then there is a depression, lack of motivation, anxiety, and poor quality of this sleep. So these all are the slides. So menopause is unexpected way affecting the woman's body. So she is initially feeling all these symptoms related to the cognitive as well as the cardiovascular, as well as at the level of the bone, skin, urogenital, everywhere the woman is feeling the not good feeling is there at the time of the menopause is there. And this is one of the thing. Oh, I understand it now. Menopause is just puberty's evil older sister. So it is the correct one. At the puberty, each and every woman is feeling good and beautiful with the youth. But at the time of the menopause, there is a depression and the sadness is started because of change in her look and feeling so many symptoms. So first we discuss the vasomotor symptoms. So vasomotor symptoms are felt by the patient is like hot flushes. And these hot flushes can be lasting for a few seconds to the 30 minutes to the patient in the form of flushing is there, burning is there. This type of the feeling of the patients are there. And apart from that, there is a feeling of a headache, palpitation, dizziness, insomnia, poor quality of the sleep is there. And there is a psychological symptoms like a mood change, depression, anxiety, irritability, poor memory, poor concentration, low self-esteem. These are very common with the woman at the time of the menopause. Now, other symptoms which are related to the urogenital tract and urogenital tract atrophy of the urogenital tract, this leads to the dryness of the vagina, and dryness of vagina is produce the dyspareunia. This is the most common symptoms, as well as there is a loss of libido, urinary problems like dysuria, incontinence of the urine. These all are felt by the patient, as well as there is a other symptoms, loss of the collagen because of the absence of the estrogen hormone. There is a skin thickening, joint and muscle pain, as well as the typically the wrinkles near the eyes, as well as on the area of the chin. It gives like a purse sign. So this is the typical symptoms of the menopause felt by each and every woman from 45-year age onwards. And one more thing is that there is a suddenly there is establishment of amenorrhea. So many of the women, this amenorrhea is lasting for 3 months, 4 months, sometime up to 6 months, and suddenly there is a bleeding per vagina is going to be started. So the woman is having a feeling of the pseudocyesis. This is very common, as well as at the time of the menopause, the woman is having a great fear of development of a cancer. So it is known as the cancer phobia. And among them, the breast cancer incidence is very high with the menopausal age, as well as the colorectal cancers and the carcinoma of the endometrium and ovary is also high. So this fear is commonly going to be established to the woman at the time of the perimenopausal as well as the menopausal phase. So hot flushes, sweating, insomnia, headache, psychological cancer phobia, dyspareunia, there is a libido, pseudocyesis, irritability, depression, tiredness, lack of concentration, loss of memory. It is in the form of the Alzheimer's, urinary stress, incontinence, and dyspareunia. So these all are very common suffering of the woman during the time of the menopause. Now, one of the most common thing which is going to be happen at the menopause is the osteoporosis. So osteoporosis, 1 in 3 women due to lack of estrogen, they are suffering from the osteoporosis. And for that, we, especially the gentlemen in the family, they have to take care of the woman in very good way regarding the diet as well as their physical activity. By this, we are able to manage it. So osteoporosis is one of the common thing happen with the woman due to lack of estrogen. So the bone marrow density is decreased. With the minimal trauma, there is a development of the fracture of the long bones, especially the hip bone. So hip bone fracture, vertebrae fracture, the there is a fracture of the wrist joint. This is very, very common at the time of the menopause. So this increased risk of the fracture, this can be prevented with the use of BMD, bone marrow density measurement, by the dual X-ray. So dual X-ray, it gives us idea about the T-score. So T-score is less than 2.5. It will be suggesting about the development of the osteoporosis. So these are the figures which showing how the normal bone is looking and how the bone with the osteoporosis is looking. And there is a DEXA X-ray. So this DEXA is the dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, and it measures bone BMD. So it is the two X-ray beams with the different energy levels, and it gives a correct idea about the T-score. So this, as everyone able to see in this slide, the T-score is less than 2.5. It will be suggesting about the osteoporosis. And the T-score is between the -1 to -2. It is the osteopenia. And the T-score is between -1 to +4. It is the normal bone. So normal bone is not possible, but if the woman is taken care in the early 30s and 40s properly, then we can prevent this osteoporosis procedure. Or osteoporosis, already the T-score is less, then we have to take a help of the HRT, hormone replacement therapy. So when the severe type of the osteoporosis is developed and woman at the risk of the development of the fracture, this also going to be predicted by the society FRAXA. So this prediction by the FRAXA is also helpful for detection of the fracture at the time of the menopause. So this can be prevented by the HRT. But if woman or the family taken care of the woman during her early 40s and 30s, this osteoporosis cannot be happen with the woman. So this is one of the common thing which we seen in the menopausal woman, osteoporosis. And many of the patients in OPD came with the fracture of the hip bone, and they have to undergone for the surgeries for the fracture of the hip bone. Now, in my OPD or in my knowledge, there is a perimenopausal symptoms are also there. It going to be started at the time, and this is also known as the transition phase. So this going to be started in the early 40s as well as in the early 30s in the form of the menstrual irregularities. And this is because of the endocrinology. And the patient is having a DUB. So in the form of heavy bleeding per vagina, this suddenly followed by the amenorrhea. And this amenorrhea is lasting for 2-3 months. And then again heavy bleeding per vagina with the membranous variety of the dysmenorrhea. This is very common complaint at the time of the perimenopausal age. So later if the time is permit, then we discuss some of the cases of the perimenopausal which get good result with the homeopathy. Okay. Now, the other symptoms is the cardiovascular disorder. So, estrogen hormone is one of the cardioprotective hormone. So, generally, the women's in this slide also there is a typing mistake is there. This also I am going to explain you clearly which mistake is there. So, due to the lack, estrogen is having a cardioprotective effect. So, lack of the estrogen is leads to the development of the risk of the cardiovascular disorders. So, how it is going to be happen? So, estrogen is cardioprotective by maintaining a high level of HDL and low level of LDL. So, this is the mistake, HDL. Instead of this, it is the LDL. So, maintaining a high level of HDL and the low level of LDL. And during the time of the menopause, the estrogen is absent. So, it leads to the high level of the LDL. And the high level of LDL is produce the risk to the development of the myocardial infarction as well as the ischemic heart disease. And there is inside the coronary arteries, there is a procedure of the atherosclerosis also going to be started. So estrogen is having an antioxidant property to prevent the atherosclerosis. So if any patient is suffering from the atherosclerosis, so for the prevention is better. So for preventive part, we have to take good care with the diet, with the exercise. And if it is not possible and there is a procedure of the atherosclerosis is going to be developed, the HRT is the solution for both the things, for the osteoporosis as well as for the cardiovascular disorder. But cardiovascular disorder can be prevented with the good diet and the exercise. So as in this slide, you can see the menopause itself does not cause heart disease. Changes around the menopause may increase the risk of heart disease to develop. This is the low estrogen level, weight gain, smoking, family history, and the HRT. Okay, so these are the risk factors. Now we discuss the part of the management. So what we can do for line of treatment of the management and the investigations which commonly needed at the time of the menopause is the FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone. Then there is a risk of the diabetes. So patient is required the FBS, PP2BS, as well as the patient is required HbA1c, and the patient is required the lipid profile. So these all are the investigation necessary at the time of the menopausal age. Now we discuss what is the part of the management. So during the time of the menopause, the management is the important thing that we can give a relief to our patient of the menopause. And it is also one of the way to give a good quality of the life at the post-menopausal phase. As early we discussed that the post-menopausal phase is going to be lasting for more nowadays because the life expectancy is going to be increased. So the management is depend on the health promotion, disease prevention, and good quality of the post-menopausal life. So this is depend on some of the things in general the management is high quality of active life of the patient is required, and HRT is the solution for prevention or for the line of treatment of the cardiovascular disorder as well as for the osteoporosis. And also we can go with the alternative therapies like yoga, exercise, diet, herbal therapies, and self-help groups, relaxation techniques, spiritual healing, positive attitude for the life, because the mental symptoms are so many. The patient is feeling there is a depression, sadness, low self-esteem. So in this case, the spiritual healing is helping a lot. Prayers and the relaxation techniques, meditation and yoga, this all is going to be helpful lot to the patient. And positive attitude for the life. The women are thinking that the menopause is now, my beauty is end, now my family is not loving me as they love earlier to me. So this type of the attitude of the life, this can be changed by the counseling of the woman, as well as the weight loss programs. Because of the androgen hyperactivity, there is a development of the weight gain. So weight loss program is also helpful, and it also helpful in the reduction of the cardiovascular disorders. And the phytoestrogens are one of the good thing for the management apart from the homeopathic line of the treatment. So we discuss that this management part, which is the non-pharmacological and the pharmacological like the homeopathy, we discuss this. So first, the management, that the exercise and the good quality of the life of the patient. So what type of the exercise is going to be recommended? So nowadays there is a trend in the society to go to the gym. So the little stretching and the relaxation exercise, or the just a brisk walk, this all is going to be helpful, and this going to be work as a placebo. So there is a random surveys are done on the menopausal women by the CCRH people, and they find out that the 45% of the patients are better with the exercise like brisk walking, gym joining, and the little stretching. So the exercise is the reduction in the cardiovascular disorder, as well as it going to be helpful for the relaxation therapy as it relieves the stress, and it is also gaining a strength of the muscle. So this all exercise and the alternative therapy or the relaxation techniques helping a lot to the patient. And other things are the prayers, meditation, spiritual healing. These also helpful for relaxation of the patient, and it gives a much more relief in the vasomotor symptoms like the hot flushes is there. So it gives a 35% relief in the survey by doing a meditation, prayers, spiritual healing, yoga, and it relieves the vasomotor as well as the cognitive disorders. Now, other thing become is as a part of the diet. So diet at the time of the menopause is helping a lot to the patient. So what type of the diet is recommended during the time of the menopause? So woman is needed the diet which is rich in the calcium and the vitamin D. So it helps at the time of the postmenopausal age to maintain the bone marrow density. So vitamin D and calcium is for osteoporosis prevention. So what is the amount of vitamin D is required during the time of the menopause? So daily dose of vitamin D is required is 1000 milligram to 1500 milligram is required, and it helpful for the prevention of the osteoporosis. Okay. Now another thing which is required in the diet is the vitamin C. So why the vitamin C is necessary? So vitamin C is necessary for the prevention of the carcinoma as well as the prevention of the risk of the coronary heart disorders. So it helpful, vitamin C is helpful in the prevention of the postmenopausal woman chances of development of coronary heart disease as well as the prevention in the development of carcinomas. So vitamin C is also necessary. And which are the sources of the diet? These also we'll discuss afterwards. Then other thing which is required in the diet is the vitamin E. So vitamin E is one of the good antioxidant, and it prevents the LDL levels to raise. So it helps in the prevention of development of coronary artery disease by prevention of development of atherosclerosis. So vitamin E is required during the time of the menopause for prevention of the for the low LDL level. And other thing is that vitamin E is also helpful during the time of the menopause for the things like women develop the complaints like the dryness. So vitamin E also helpful dryness at the level of the vagina. Uh, Everywhere in the body there is a dryness is there because of the parathyroid hormone, and calcium is also going to be disturbed due to the parathyroid hormone. So vitamin E is helpful for the prevention of the dryness also. Now other thing which is required in the diet the woman has to take during the time of the perimenopausal as well as the menopausal age is the magnesium. So adequate amount of the magnesium is required for the good quality of the sleep, and it helpful in the prevention of the insomnia as well as it helpful for the calcium absorption. If the magnesium deficiency is there, the chances of the osteoporosis development is the higher one. So magnesium is helpful for the insomnia patient as well as the magnesium is helpful for the prevention of the osteoporosis because it helps in the good absorption of the calcium. If your patient is deficient in a magnesium and patient is taking the supplements like a vitamin D, it doesn't going to helpful for the prevention of the osteoporosis because the magnesium is helpful in the absorption of the calcium. Now other supplements which required for the woman is the vitamin B6, vitamin B12 and the folic acid, and this helpful for the prevention of the Alzheimer's disease. So estrogen deficiency is most commonly produce the Alzheimer, and to prevent the Alzheimer we require the good intake of the vitamin B6, B12 as well as the folic acid in the daily regimen base of the diet. So these all are the supplements which are in the daily base the woman has to take. And I, by this medium, I want to convey to the people of the homeopathy that we have to find out that in homeopathy also we can provide this type of the supplements, so the patient doesn't has to depend on the allopathic supplementations. Okay, so we have to find out the homeopathic solution for the supplements. Now, there is a phytoestrogen. So phytoestrogen is one of the good therapy at the time of the menopause. So these phytoestrogens, which popularly used in the practice, is the soya preparations. So these soy preparations are nowadays easily available in the market. So first thing is that it is the soya protein in the form of the tofu. Another thing is the soy milk. Another thing is the soy yogurt. So these all are the soya preparations are available in the market, and these all products are working as a phytoestrogen, and it helpful in the prevention of the vasomotor and the cardiovascular disorders. Now, the pharmacological way of the phytoestrogen in the form of the isoflavones. So these isoflavones are nothing else is the soya products. So these isoflavones in the Japanese and the Chinese women, the incidence rate of the menopausal symptoms like cardiovascular disorder, osteoporosis, as well as the carcinoma is less because they consume in the large amount isoflavones. So isoflavones is nothing else. It is just a phytoestrogens, and this phytoestrogens is in the form of the soy. So soya beans, soy milk, soy yogurt, this all, and tofu, this all is going to be helpful to the patient along with the vitamin C to prevent the risk of the carcinoma as well as the osteoporosis and cardiovascular disorder. And now, what type of the food the woman has to daily consume in her diet? If I am having okay, so the woman has to take in her daily diet is the green leafy vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables like a spinach, fenugreek, amarnath. This all helping a lot. Then another thing is the fruits. These are containing the vitamin E as well as the magnesium and the B6, B12. And the woman has to consume the fat-free milk. That's why the soya milk and tofu is the good one. So the woman has to consume the fat-free milk, and it also helpful in the prevention of the cardiovascular disorder. Then woman has to take the beta carotene like a yellow color fruits like carrot, then orange. This yellow color fruits the woman has to consume more, as well as the vitamin C intake in the form of the citrus fruits like amla and the orange, and guava is also helpful to the patient. So these things the patient has to consume in her daily diet. And also the legumes, which is the good one, is the soya as well as the cloves. And another thing which is the good in the diet is the flaxseed. So nowadays there is a trend in the society as a mouth freshener, they consume the flaxseed. So this flaxseed is also helpful, and it also working as a phytoestrogen, and it reduce the risk of the development of the cardiovascular disorder. So this all about the non pharmacological way of the management of the perimenopausal as well as the menopausal woman by the investigation, by the dual x-ray, and by the exercise, yoga, meditation, prayers, and by this diet we can give a better life to the crucial phase of the woman's life. Okay. Now we discuss the homeopathic part of the management for the complaints. So each and everyone is aware about the homeopathic therapeutic. So this is simple, just a homeopathic drugs which commonly use, and the lachesis is one of the good drug for the menopause. It is our 3 marks drugs in the materia medica. So we have to prescribe the drug lachesis to the patient. So on which ground the lachesis is going to be helpful? Because some of the students are also there. So lachesis is helpful for the patients. It is one of the valuable remedy in our materia medica at the time of the climacteric. So when there is a symptoms of the hot flushes are there, the first thing which is thought one is the drug menopause. When the woman is suffering from the hot flushes, and due to hot flushes there is a development of the insomnia, and the typical mental symptoms are going to be developed to the woman. There is a one word leads to the story. So this type of the symptoms are there: jealousy, loquacity, this all the things are developed to the woman. Then the good prescription is the lachesis, and lachesis is also one of the good drug for the vicarious menses. So women also develop the epistaxis, but for the vicarious thing, another good drug is phosphorus is also there in our materia medica. Now we discuss the second good drug is the sepia. So how the sepia is going to be worked? So sepia is helpful for the woman, those who are the indifferent to her own family member at the time of the menopause, and she is having a low self-esteem, and she is the irritable one, quarrelsome one, and she is also suffering from the prolapse of uterus due to the loss of elasticity of the muscles at the time of the menopause. On that ground, the sepia is going to be helpful to the patient at the time of the menopause. And when the woman is suffering from the dyspareunia, the true drugs are there, sepia as well as the graphitis. Due to the dryness, there is a development of the dyspareunia, then the sepia is one of the choice of the drug. So mental symptoms in the lachesis, there is a loquacity, one word leads to the story. Here the sepia is the indifferent one, and always there is a sadness status and the quarrelsome. So this type of the things are there. There is a weakness of memories is also there. Then we have to thought about the drug sepia. Now another good drug for the prescription in the homeopathy is amyl nitrosum. So this amyl nitrosum is more similar to the drug belladonna. So hot flushes is there with the climacteric headache, and the patient is having a symptoms like a belladonna, like throbbing carotids, palpitation, anxiety, flush face, tachycardia, then we have to think about the drug amyl nitrosum. So these all the drugs are good for the condition of the hot flushes. So when the patient is having a hot flushes and when the patient mental symptoms is the different one, then we have to either choose a sepia or lachesis. And when the patient is having a more anxiety and palpitation, then we have to choose the amyl nitrosum. Now another good drug is the graphitis. So in our materia medica, it is written like that: pulsatilla is during the puberty and graphitis is during the time of the menopause. So those women who are the obese one and they having a history of a delayed menarche and they are suffering at the time of the menopause with the hot flushes and obesity is there, then we have to, and the patient is also suffering from the constipation, then we have to thought about the drug graphitis at the time of the menopause. Now I want to go a little bit faster because few minutes is remaining in our session. So Another good drug is the arginine nitricum. So arginine nitricum is indicated for the woman at the time of the climacteric for the menorrhagia. So for the menorrhagia, the good drug is the arginine nitricum, and for the metrorrhagia, the good drug is the sepia. So here arginine nitricum woman, those who are the infertile women, those who are the widows, and they are suffering from the menorrhagia at the metrorrhagia at the time of the climacteric, then we have to prescribe the drug arginine nitricum. Now, another good drug for the hot flushes is the Glonoine. So, Glonoine is the similar drug for the hot flushes. So, Glonoine is indicated mainly for the hot flushes as well as the climacteric headache. So, hot flushes is present along with the climacteric headache. Then we have to thought about the drug Glonoine. Now, another drug is the Murex. So, where and which time the Murex is indicated? So, the women are coming with the complaint of the prolapse of uterus, and this prolapse of uterus is developed with the congestion. Then we have to think about the Murex. So, everyone is aware that what is the typical sensation is felt in the Murex. So in Murex, there is a nymphomania as well as there is a bearing down sensation is there, and patient has to sit with crossing her legs to relieve the bearing down sensation. So the Murex is indicated for the complaint of the prolapse of uterus as well as the congestion is there and there is a soreness is there. Then we have to think about the Murex. So when the patient develop the nymphomania, then also the Murex is working good. Generally, at the time of the menopause, there is a more complaint of the dyspareunia and there is a no desire. But when the woman develop the nymphomania at the time of the menopause, then the Murex is the choice of the drug. Now, other good drug is the sulfur. So sulfur is also one of the indicated drug for the hot flushes as well as the calcarea carb is also there. Calcarea carb is indicated for the fair flabby woman and she is also suffering from the menorrhagia. And phosphorus, as earlier I told you, that vicarious menstruation and burning and dirty skin is there. And sulfur is also indicated for the skin complaint as well as for the hot flushes. And another good drug in our materia medica is the menincinella. So when the depressed at the puberty and the climacteric mental symptoms are there, then we have to thought about the drug menincinella. And Conium. So this is the last. Conium is the patient who are the widow and she is also suffering from the carcinoma of breast, and also the patient developed the suppressed sexual desire at the time of the climacteric. Most commonly she is suffering from the carcinoma of breast. Then we have to think about the drug Conium. Now I want to share my experience just regarding the
Madam, as only just few minutes remaining, we have
just 2 minutes. Okay.
we can
So
have a
last week I
request.
have a patient. Okay, sir. I just want to complete last thing. So last week I have a patient. At the time of the menopause, she is suffering from severe dryness and itching, and she is thinking that she changed her place. That's why she developed this complaint. And she is a strong believer of homeopathy. And she came to me, and I prescribe her a sepia for this dryness, and sepia is working excellent for that patient, and sepia is working good for the dryness as well as for the dyspareunia at the time of the menopause. Now, sir, I can share my other
No,
cases?
we can have another session for that because it's a time just 3 minutes away from closing. So I invite for some of you to have a discussion. Dr. Sarvi, you can make your comment here. Dr. Sarvi from Turkey.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Turkey.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
thank you so much. It's a wonderful session, and I am very happy to hear a lot of things about perimenopause and menopause. I hope you will go on and you explain some patients and the results of them. And thank you so much, IFPH, and all of you. And it's a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your feedback. Thank you so
If
much.
any other person want to have a chat or have a doubt, clear the session, you can ask your question now. Please raise your hand since only 2 minutes remaining.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Now I invite Dr. Boblin for a discussion as well as you can talk also. At the end, you can say a vote of thanks to the session also, Dr. Bob.
Okay.
Dr. Bob. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Danesh.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this honor to say something, and also finally a word of thanks on behalf of the IFPH. And it has been a very, very informative and excellent webinar and session that is conducted by Madam Dr. Hina Shah. And we appreciate your effort in giving us the knowledge of premenopause and menopause complaint that can be managed by the homeopathy remedies. And I think it's very important for both men and women to know this. And you come started with the basic of the physiology, and you end up with the final detail of the physiology of premenopause and menopause, and which is very, very good session tonight, I believe.
Thank you so
And
much.
Madam, we like to hear from you again, and on behalf of the IFPH, maybe you have more case taking that you can share with us in the next webinar.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure,
Yes,
sure.
on
Because
behalf
my
of the-
cases are remaining, so many patients of the perimenopausal age, they having a
Yes.
problem of a TUB. This I want to share with you people. So with
We'd
the
like to
time,
hear
it is
from you
not
again.
possible.
And on behalf of the IFPH, I would like to say a very big thank you to you for successful conducting
Thank
tonight's
you so much.
1541st day of uninterrupted daily webinar. And that is absolutely excellent. Thank you
Yes.
very much. And we'd like to hear from you once again. Over to
Yes.
you.
Definitely, sir, definitely. Thank you so much,
Thank-
IFH. And thank you so much, Dhanesh, sir, for giving me a platform of the international session of the webinar. And thank you, my dear student, Dr. Arpita. She give a contact of Dr. Dhanesh, sir. So thank you so much, Dhanesh, sir. With so many hurdles, I am able to share the PPT on this board. So thank you so much for giving me opportunity. And it is really a wonderful to meet you all doctors on this platform. So it is pleasure on mine. And in future also we continue with the same, sir, if you permit me. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Boblin from Malaysia for your comments here. And then thank you, Dr. Hina Shah, for your excellent session. And definitely we need more presentation from you because this is a very, very important subject and homeopathy can do wonders. We know that homeopathy doctors are doing excellent job in maintaining the momentum in this female diseases, particularly menopausal age. Some people do not realize why these women is reacting like this because it is really a problem with the menopause, but that can be a symptom of menopausal syndrome. But unless otherwise they are not aware, it is our duty to make such knowledge, sharing these things to public also. Anyway, congratulations, Dr. Hinasha, for an excellent session, and those who attended the session from different part of the world. And tomorrow we will have a session from Dr. Vibha Mevada Sharma, and she will be talking about enuresis homeopathic approach with the case study. So I hope all of you will be with us tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all. And it's the time for our next session in Malayalam. It's over to Dr. Mariamma John to moderate the Malayalam session.
നന്ദി ധനേഷ് ഡോക്ടറെ. എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. IFPHന്റെ 1541 പ്രതിദിന സൂം വെബിനാറിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവരെയും സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊള്ളുന്നു. ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ് ആരംഭിക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് ഒരു നിമിഷം ഈശ്വര പ്രാർത്ഥന. നന്ദി. ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് അതിഥിയായി എത്തിയിരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മളുടെ പ്രിയങ്കരനായ ഡോക്ടർ TN ശ്രീധരക്കുറുപ്പ് സാറാണ്. സാറ് MD ഹോമിയോ, MSc സൈക്കോളജി, MSc യോഗ, റിട്ടയർഡ് അസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ഡയറക്ടർ, സെൻട്രൽ കൗൺസിൽ ഫോർ റിസർച്ച് ഹോമിയോപ്പതി, കോട്ടയം. 45 വർഷത്തെ ചികിത്സാനുഭവങ്ങളാണ് സാറിനുള്ളത്. ഇതിനോടകം വളരെയധികം വിജ്ഞാനപ്രദമായ അനേകം ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ നമുക്ക് എടുത്തു തന്നിട്ടുള്ള സാറ് ഇന്ന് എടുക്കുന്ന വിഷയം എങ്ങനെ ഒരു നല്ല ഹോമിയോപ്പതി ചികിത്സകനാകാം, അതിൻ്റെ കൂടെ ചികിത്സാനുഭവങ്ങളും. ഈ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്നതിലേക്കായി ഡോക്ടർ TN ശ്രീധരക്കുറുപ്പ് സാറിനെ ആദരപൂർവം ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിലേക്ക് ക്ഷണിച്ചുകൊള്ളുന്നു. സാറിന് ആരംഭിക്കാം.